everybody, Kristen here, and welcome back to my channel. If you're interested in minimalism, simplifying, and healthy living, then stick around. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about comparison. So this is something that I've struggled with for a long time. It has been years coming and I still struggle with it, but I thought it might be helpful for y'all to talk a little bit about comparison, my struggles with it, as well as some helpful tips and tricks of how to stop comparison in its tracks, to work on being your authentic self and being true to you versus constantly comparing yourself to other people. So without further ado, let's jump into this video. The first tip I have for y'all is to simply become aware and to notice when you are comparing, because the best way that you can stop that behavior and stop those thoughts is by being aware of them. If you're not aware of them and you aren't able to catch them right away, then you're not going to be able to authentically and realistically tackle and deal with the comparison if you aren't actually noticing it and being aware of when it's actually happening. And I always say it's a lot easier for me personally to stop comparison if I notice it immediately and I can jump off of social media, or I can take action right away versus letting myself go down that rabbit hole. And then when I'm way at the bottom and I've been comparing and speaking negatively towards myself for like 30 minutes or more, it's a lot harder to dig myself out of that rut if I don't catching it right away immediately and then stopping it. So the second thing is to set limits and boundaries when it comes to being online or being on social media. I found that this is the most beneficial for me in terms of like stopping comparison. So I will literally set specific time limits of how long I'm allowed to be on certain social media apps, whether that be Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever social media platform I'm on. I will set limits so I'm not just like mindlessly scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And this has definitely helped to eliminate some of that comparison for me. It brings me into my third tip, which is unfollow, unsubscribe, unlike whatever you need to do. So that way you're not seeing pictures, photos, whatever that could be triggering or could be people that you're noticing that you're comparing yourself to. So that is my third tip, is to unfollow and to simply click off of, not allow your feed or your Instagram to be cluttered with people that you're comparing yourself to. Now, that may be for just a season and a period of time, or it could be long term. So if you're really struggling with body image or weight, you maybe have to unfollow certain people or that post a lot of selfies showing their entire stomach. Whatever's going to be helpful for you. Don't feel bad about unfollowing somebody that's making you feel bad about yourself. Whether that, maybe that person is a relatively positive person, but if you're noticing that you're comparing yourself or what they're posting is triggering for you, then you're just going to have to develop muscle there of, I'm noticing that comparison and I'm going to unfollow. I'm going to set time limits and boundaries with regards to social media, so that way I can better kind of step back and stop comparing myself to other people. My fourth tip is to literally stop, put up a stop sign, literally say the word stop, put up a stop sign, picture a stop sign in your mind, what it looks like when that thought, that comparison comes. I'm fatter than her, or have as good of a job as her, be nice, she can work from home and I can't. All these negative thoughts that start cycling and circling, right? And when they start, oftentimes I've found is that they just cycle and they create like this huge like tornado effect. And so if you can stop them immediately and notice it when it first starts happening, that is definitely going to be beneficial. But I literally will say the word stop in my mind out loud, depending where I am. Will stop that thought in its tracks by simply verbally practicing saying that word, stop. Okay. And then from that moment, whatever I'm doing, I will shift my focus onto something else. Now, if it's my phone and that comparison started because I saw a picture of someone in a filtered photo or an edited photo on Instagram, then I'm clicking off of Instagram, I'm shutting my phone, locking it, turning it off, putting it in the box that locks it up for an hour, and I'm doing something else that's going to bring me joy or going to make me feel confident, whether that's working out, going for a walk, listening to music. Maybe that's like doing something fun like painting, coloring, something creative, whatever it is, doing your hair, doing your nails, doing your makeup, dressing up, shopping your closet and trying on different outfits, whatever it is, it's going to allow you to step back from that space and that frame of mind and focus on something else. My fifth tip is to be aware of triggers. okay, or times of day or certain things that make you more likely to compare yourself to other people. So for example, for me, this tends to be more present or more prevalent at nighttime, as well as if I'm just in more of like a mental state, like maybe I'm feeling more depressed or down that day. Whatever it is, I make note of it. Okay, these are my triggers. I was feeling more down, I got less sleep, I was scrolling more on social media, whatever it is. And okay, those are my specific triggers, so I need to unfollow, I need to delete that app off my phone temporarily or long term. The main important thing is just to become more aware of your triggers. And the only way you can do that is simply by noticing and being more aware of it. Like, oh, okay, that's where that thought cycle, that negative energy started. Is what was I doing when that negative thought started, or right before that negative thought started, or that comparison? What was going on right before that happened? And asking yourself that question is going to be helpful in catching and figuring out what your triggers are. Tip number 6 is to be more mindful of how comparison impacts you mentally and emotionally. Now, for a long time, I wasn't really aware of it and wasn't really sure how to manage it, how to get past it, but something that's been very beneficial is just noticing, again, how is comparison impacting my mood and what are some steps I can take to change that. So once I was actually more aware of like this thought cycle, and that one thought led to this thought, led to this thought, and it just cycled down into like this huge tornado. And now I'm sitting in my bedroom isolated alone and not doing anything for several hours. Oh, okay. So really challenging myself and thinking about, well, what happened before that mood shift? When did my mood shift? When did it change? What triggered that? And what was going on previously? Because if I was out enjoying time with friends and wasn't in that mood space, and now suddenly I have that shift in mood, was it comparison? Was it a trigger? Was it me scrolling on Instagram or on TikTok or on social media? You know, what was going on previously? And that has definitely been very helpful. Tip number 7 is to give yourself cheerleading statements every single day and multiple times a day. This may seem weird at first, especially if you're not used to self-validation and giving yourself kind of praise and encouragement, but we need that. You need, typically they say you need like 10 positive statements to every negative. So if you're comparing and being negative or hard on yourself, then you need 10 positive statements to combat that. So things that I've used is positive statements is like, you can do it, or your eyes look really pretty today, or your hair looks really nice, or an awesome job baking that bread, it tastes amazing, or hey, you really rocked it out at the gym, you had a really good gym sesh. Things like that, things that are positive. Now, try to shift your focus from other people's outward appearance to what you can learn or how you can like grow in terms of maybe your passions or your gifts. So for example, I'm very passionate about baking, about healthy eating, about exercising, about being creative. And so those are the things that I will focus on hardcore. Like I will have to physically force myself to sit down and to do those things, whether that's getting outside and going for a run, a bike ride, a hike, going to the gym, whether it's like eating a healthy meal, baking bread, baking a pie, doing something that I know is going to center and ground myself and help me shift my focus from that negativity to specifics of I'm going to actually focus on how I can focus on maybe like baking something for someone else and making their day better versus like, oh, like it's all about me and kind of being very negative, woe is me, like, oh my gosh, I don't have, this much money as this person, or I don't have that dress, right? Like looking at all of your flaws, taking a step back and really focusing in on what are some areas, gifts, passions, and strengths that you can focus on, and habits that you can build, or intentions that you can build that are going to be positive for you. And my tip number 9 is to just learn more about yourself and fall in love with learning more about yourself. The best way that I do this is by spending some alone time with myself, going to the movies alone, praying, reading, doing things that I enjoy, and trying new things by myself. And that allows me to understand a little bit more what my passions are, my gifts are, what things I really enjoy doing that I maybe like hadn't pursued before or hadn't really thought about doing because I was comparing, or I was like, oh, well, I'm going to fail at that, so I may as well just not try at it, right? And so that was kind of holding me back from trying things that actually would bring me joy. This kind of goes in with that one. Is tip number 10 is plan out and try at least one new thing a month. Now this could be like, for me, this could be like trying a new exercise routine, trying to bake a new dessert or bake a different type of pie, or changing up my bread recipe. Now it doesn't have to be that. Sometimes I will go way out of my comfort zone and try something new. I've actually really wanted to learn like some kickboxing or jiu-jitsu, or something different and fun that I haven't ever tried before. So that's definitely on my bucket list to try. Stop copying other people and looking at like becoming an exact copy or replica of this other person, and embrace who you are. So write down 3 things about yourself that you love, or if you can't come up with that, maybe you write 3 things that your mom or your sister or your best friend said about you that they love about you, and those are the 3 traits that you focus on and repeat over and over and over again. Or the 3 things that you're passionate about that you're going to work on really hardcore, becoming really good at those things. My last tip, and probably the most important one, is don't fake it. Like, don't pretend to be somebody you're not. And I know that especially when you're young, that's harder to do, but it's never going to make you happy. It's never going to leave you feeling content. You're never really going to know who you truly are if you're faking it. So really embrace it. And the people that love you and are for you and are in your circle will stay, and those that aren't, they'll leave. When you start exploring and growing, learning new things, exploring who you truly are, and they don't like it, well, then I guess those people really weren't your true friends. They really weren't people that you want in your corner anyway. Those are just kind of the 12 tips that I've been using recently, and the things that have helped me push past comparison and really work on exploring who I am and build confidence in that area. And honestly, the best tip that I have for y'all is to be you, and to explore your interests in the things that you love, and instead of comparing, focusing on that aspect of yourself and on the growth that you're seeing versus all of these other people over here that are doing these things. I hope this video was helpful, and just know that you are loved by God and loved here on this channel. Thank you all so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. It is a beautiful day to simplify. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you all in the next one.